Provision on open grazing constitutional. Malami. Welcome to the news and thank you for tuning in to listen. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, yesterday blasted those criticizing his stance on Southern Governor's position on open grazing, saying whatever he said on the issue was not outside the scope of a nation's constitution. Malami stated this while fielding questions from State House correspondents at the end of the virtual Federal Executive Council (FEC) meeting presided by President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He said, well, on the issue of farmers and herders clashes, no position was taken by the Office of the Attorney General outside the scope of constitutional provisions. The position of the Office of the Attorney General is about freedom and liberty of movement, amongst others. And what the Office of the Attorney General has simply succeeded in doing is making a reference to relevant constitutional provisions and establish a position that each and every Nigerian is entitled to freedom of movement, simply citer. So the issue is whether that freedom of movement is constitutionally guaranteed or is not. And my answer to it is the freedom of movement is indeed constitutionally guaranteed. Also responding to his position on VAT and governor's push for state to collect the tax, he said the federal government was completing taking the matter to the Supreme Court, which according to him has the jurisdiction over such matters. He said the issue of VAT, well, as you rightly know, there were certain judgments obtained by some state governors at their jurisdictions and localities before the respective state high courts. And arising from that judgment and the laws that were passed by those state governments, the federal government filed an appeal against the judgment challenging the laws that were put in place, which I feel has been determined by the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal has granted an order of stay of execution, directing the state government to maintain status quo pending the determination of the main appeal, and these matters are being considered for determination. Some other governments have filed in an application for joinder, seeking to be joined in the matter as interested parties. But again, there is pending equally an application and preliminary objection for that matter, challenging the competence of the action and indeed the judgment that was obtained. But the federal government is still looking at other possibilities, all options open in terms of challenging the action of the state government. But one thing that is fundamental that you need to know as being the issue equally being considered for determination by the court, as the federal government is challenging the powers of a state government to legislate on the issues associated with the collection of VAT. The position of a federal government as canvassed, which is being looked into by the judicial system, is to effect that by our laws, the power to legislate on collection of VAT is statutorily vested in the National Assembly. And with that in mind, it is not within the scope and powers of a state government to legislate on the issue of collection. So what I am saying in essence is just to give an insight as to the multiple contention between the parties as being determined, as being canvassed, presented for the determination of the court. We are indeed litigating, contending these issues before the court, and the federal government is looking at all options at its disposal, inclusive of the possibility of invoking the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. This is taking into consideration that the dispute at hand is a dispute between the state government and the federal government, in respect of which only the Supreme Court has jurisdiction to entertain, taking into consideration the constitutional provisions relating thereto. So this is the position we are as far as contention among the parties relating to the value-added tax, as the value-added tax is confirmed. Well, I say again, this issue of constitutionally and not constitutionally, democratic and not democratic, democracy and not democracy should not be used only when it favors some particular group of people. It should not be used only when it favors a particular group of people. Democracy is for all. None of the citizens of Nigeria are under another system of government. We are all in the democratic system of government. And what I mean herein is the state government too. The first primary assignment of a state government, if I think so, or if I am not wrong, I stand to be corrected, is to protect the lives and properties of its electorate, of its citizens. Now, if you say that in doing that, they are against the Constitution, what should we now then do? What should be done about it? This same Constitution, and since we're in a democratic state, it says human rights should not be infringed upon. This particular issue of open grazing, there was a clash between farmers and herdsmen, which caused lives and property to be lost. Now, on this matter, this was what brought about the anti-open grazing bill, which of course would put many farmers, and not just farmers, many residents of state government safe. It is like keeping my people safe, and they are saying by keeping my people safe, I am still disobeying the law. If I may ask, I think money have been spent on ranching. Money have been spent on ranching, so it's not like these people do not have any other option. It's not like these people do not even have any other option. They have other option if they really, really want to. If that is the only business or the only means of livelihood they have another option. So I do not see why the people must. Okay, will I say because people have the freedom of movement and puts other people's lives in danger? Where any electorate or when any citizen of Nigerian rights stops, that is where another one starts. And if you are coming to my land and you have come into my place before and you have caused me havoc, then I have every right to say, please. And me too, I have a right to say no. Please stay in your place so that nobody will have any clash. In that way, loss of lives is avoided, loss of property is avoided, and everybody stays in peace. So I do not see why it is supposed to be said that it is democratic and unconstitutional. To me, it is only being biased. It is being biased. Why does it, when it comes to some certain matters, the democratic state of government, the democratic system of government and the constitution are not needed, as in they are shown. But when it comes to some issues, we try to see people, they are like, oh, we're in a democratic system of government and it is unconstitutionalized and all that. This should be general, please. If you want to be educated, you have to be educated in total. Everything about you is supposed to be. You are not supposed to say you're educated, meanwhile your action depicts something else. Please, let us allow this particular matter to rest. The state government has taken the stand, not against anybody, please. It is for the safety of their citizens, of those that vote them into office. That is why this particular open grazing is done. And of course, on the VAT, we wouldn't say anything much about it because the matter is already in court. But the state court has already said, okay, the governors can actually collect or generate their VAT. We are going to keep waiting for what the Supreme Court will say, hoping the judgment will be fair. On this note, we have come to the end of the news today. Thank you so much for tuning in to listen till I come your way next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.